Human Gambits series. Book 1, Chapter 15. Max regains consciousness. After the incident, Max wakes. Where am I? What's going on? He's in a dark room and can't feel his body. In fact, he feels no sensations at all. What was I doing? Then he remembers. He was running for his life, trying to avoid being rammed by the alien ship. It must have hit. We must have collided. How am I still alive, and for how long? Max begins to take stock of the situation. He tries to open his eyes. Nothing. Darkness. Then he realizes that he can't feel anything. Am I floating? Maybe I'm in my flight suit and I've been ejected into space. Max quickly disregards that notion. Again, Max tries opening his eyes, but nothing happens. He tries to take a deep breath, but can't feel himself breathing. He tries again to breathe, but still nothing. He then tries to move, but can't move his limbs. I can't see or feel anything. I don't even hear anything. The last thing Max remembers is the alien ship getting ready to ram his ship. He decides he must be completely paralyzed. But then, why can't I open my eyes? Do I even still have eyes? Maybe I was blinded? Maybe I am horribly burned and my eyes and ears are gone? But if that were so, wouldn't I be in pain? Max feels as if he's on the verge of panic, but he doesn't. Why am I not panicking? Maybe I am panicking and I just can't feel my heartbeat or my lungs. Maybe I am hyperventilating and I don't even know it. Can paralyzed people hyperventilate? Max continues trying to open his eyes and look around. The ship's repair mechanisms struggle to understand the requests being sent along Max's now cybernetic nervous system. Two different sets of nanites sense that the processing areas connected to the two primary optical sensors have become highly active. They also sense that the nerves that were previously connected to the muscles around those optical sensors are activating. After further analysis by a nanite hive mind, it deduces that Max is trying to access photonic-based sensory data in the electromagnetic spectrum via specialized structures, so they begin to try to repair these systems. Since there are two optical nerve bundles, the nanite hive mind splits and begins to repair each independently. One set of nanites begins to make and route connections from one cybernetic optical nerve bundle to a newly created cybernetic interface to give Max access to the alien ship's external electromagnetic sensors. The nanites working on the opposite optical nerve bundle note that the ship Max had been traveling in had an internal optical sensor suite, so they decide to repair and patch in that system. This optical nerve bundle is connected to a PTZ, point tilt zoom camera sensor, and the PTZ control systems are connected to the optical sensor's muscle nerve bundle. Wait, what was that? Thinks Max. He sees what seem to be flashes of light. After some time, Max decides to try to open his eyes again. If I can't feel my eyelids, how can I even know if my eyes really are open? He tries again to open his eyes wide and struggles to see. This time, it's a blinding white light. Well, that's something at least. If I can see light, then my eyes must have opened. He closes his eyes, pauses, and decides to try again. Again, it's a blinding white light, but also a form that he can't quite make out. Maybe one of my eyes is damaged, he thinks. Max tries opening one eye. Blinding white light. He tries the other. Ah, that's it. There's no blinding light and rough shapes can be seen. While keeping the bad eye closed, Max begins trying to make out the images he can see. The more he tries, the clearer the image becomes. The emergency lighting has been activated, so the ship's main power must be down. Max continues to look around and spots a dark wedge shape inside the cabin of his ship. What is that? The longer he looks, the better the images get, until he can clearly see the inside of his ship's cabin. There's a large black wedge-shaped object sticking through the wall into the interior. That must be the alien ship. Is it exceptionally small, like a probe, or is it only the nose of the ship? Max wonders. Max continues to look at the cabin. He can see a lot of damage. Then he notices the webs. Fine black webs are all over everything. What are those and where did they come from? Is the ship infected with something? Is that hairy mold or maybe spider webs? Max tries to look around and realizes he's having trouble moving his eyes. He still can't feel his body, but at least he can see. He wonders if he has massive nerve or neurological damage. He tries to move his eye to look around the cabin again, and this time, there is some movement. Good, he thinks. I'm not completely paralyzed. Maybe I'm just stunned or pinned in place. He tries even harder and begins to make progress. Moving his one good eye to the left, he sees more of the cabin and... Is that the pilot's chair? It's below me. I must be on the ceiling. Am I floating adjacent to the ceiling, or am I pinned to it somehow? If I'm floating, then that means the ship's fields are down and there should be no artificial gravity, but nothing else is floating around the cabin. That doesn't make any sense. With this much damage, there should be shrapnel and debris coursing through the ship and bouncing around, but there's nothing. None of this makes sense. He notices even more of the flat black spider webs all over his ship. They cover many of the display surfaces and consoles. All the controls look dead. How can I still be alive? The cabin has been breached, so there must be no air, and if the ship is dead, then the cabin should be freezing. He decides he must still be in his suit and it must still be powered up, but he can't see the faceplate's heads-up display, HUD. If my suit is still powered up, then I should be able to see my HUD. I'm having trouble with my eyes, maybe I simply can't focus that close at the moment. Max turns his attention to the rear of the ship and is startled by what he sees. Oh crap, is that real? That can't be real. Max sees his flight suit lying towards the rear of the ship. Did I somehow leave my suit? Max looks closer and can see that the faceplate of his helmet is turned towards him just a bit, just enough to be able to see that there is, indeed, someone in the suit. Well, that settles that. Either someone else is now on board with me or that's me in the suit. Am I dead? If that's my body, am I dead? Am I a ghost trapped in this derelict bus? In space? This doesn't make any sense. Then it hits him. I must be dreaming. I must be having a lucid dream. Although this is very unlike any lucid dream I've ever had previously. In some ways, it does seem like a dream. Max tries to yell, but nothing comes out. I've had this type of experience in dreams before. This is sleep paralysis, isn't it? Max takes another look around the cabin. For a dreamscape, this is incredibly detailed. I hope I am just dreaming and not in some type of lucid dream-like coma. I need to find a way to wake up. Max continues to look around the cabin and wonders how long it will be until he wakes. He tries to think of any way to rouse himself. He might be in danger, and his oxygen could be running low. His very life and the fate of humanity could depend on him waking as soon as possible.